Hi guys, Big Monday here and welcome to my guide to Winter Wyvern, the latest Dota 2 hero. Now Wyvern is a really cool hero, no pun intended. She has a very unusual playstyle, which is one of the things I really like about her. Now one thing you should be aware of is she's sort of a medium to high skill cap hero, in that to play her well requires a lot of positioning awareness and a lot of awareness of what skills your enemy has. So whereas I would normally, with most heroes, I'll do a quick showcase video and then I do an easy medium and hard guide for them. This is the first guide I'm doing for Wyvern. It is going to be sort of on the easier side, but I'm going to expect, to get the best out of this, you're going to need to be reasonably aware of what the enemy heroes are capable of, because you need to be that to play Wyvern well anyway. So if at any point you regularly coming across heroes that you don't really know what their skills do, then Wyvern is probably not the hero for you. You probably should not be playing her at all. But that said, let's move on. Right, so there's two sort of main schools of thought in how to play Wyvern. One of them is max Arctic Burn first, and the second one is max Splinter Blast first. Now this depends on whether you feel really confident with the hero and how aggressive you think you can be in lane. Now if you think you can get away with being super aggressive, Splinter Blast is better to max. It will give you much more damage potential. But Arctic Burn, because of the range of it, you get 1,000 range once it's maxed, and the fact that it can take 30% of someone's health off from full, it's a much more consistent and safer harass. And the slow is of course really good for getting kills, but it's mainly its long range that makes this a really safe ability. I mean, once it's maxed, every 20 seconds you can take 30% of anyone in lane's HP off, which makes it really hard for the enemy team to trade favourably with Winter unless they're already low on health. So this guide we're going to be going max Arctic Burn first, just to sort of show how we play that. We're also in a hard support role in this game, so we're going to be struggling a little bit for items. A lot of the time, Winter will pick up a Scaddy, quite often a Blink, but we're going to assume that we can't afford those items because we're going to be a hard support this game. And even though we're 2 minutes in, we've actually got quite a decent amount of gold for a support. But yeah, so as we can see in this game, we're max Arctic Burn. We've got 375 bonus attack range on top of a 425, so we've got an 800 attack range once we cast Arctic Burn as it is. Now Winter is a little bit mana hungry in the first sort of 10 to 15 minutes of the game, depending on how you itemize, but so you might find yourself, if you want to stay really aggressive, you're going to have to get yourself 2 or 3 mana pots early on, maybe just 1 or 2 when you first spawn in, and then get another couple delivered depending on how the game is going, and opportunities to spend your mana. But you are likely to need extra mana. Now a Soul Ring works really well on Wyvern. A lot of people will use it in combination with a heal, but don't even bother with it at level 1. Because the Soul Ring takes off more than you get. I mean, you get 3% for 4 seconds, so you get 12% health, which is not really that much. It's not a massive amount. It's not horrible. In this case, what, 12%, 50%, 80, so it's about 90 health, and the Soul Ring takes off 150, so it's not really worth it. Now you'll see I have not skilled Cold Embrace in this game, and this is what I mean about partly about awareness of what the enemies can do to you. Now the thing with Cold Embrace is it's capable of stunning your own team. So you can stun any channeled spells, you can stun TPs, and I've done that before. I've gone to Cold Embrace someone who's low when they thought, and just as I've done it, they've gone to TP out, thinking, oh, they go base, and then they're stunned. Then the fight goes badly, and they can't escape anymore. So just bear in mind, this can go badly. You need to be really careful. You need to be really aware of who you're healing. Now, in the laning phase, what you need to think of is how are you going to get killed, and how is your lane ally going to get killed. And what I mean by that is, if they're going to get wiped out by nukes, then there's no point skilling that, because all you're going to do is stop him running them running away, because the heal is so low in the early game that your other two skills are better for saving them. It is a good skill, because I mean, let's face it, the sort of 100 or so, the 100 health they'll get from the level 1, or sort of 50 to 100 depending on how much HP they've got, it might save their life, but it also stops them running away. It allows the enemy to position to follow up. So you don't want to use that unless you've got no other option, or unless the enemy's only follow-up is physical damage. Now, if the enemy's only follow-up is physical damage, then by all means, skill Cold Embrace early. You'll get a Bloodseeker, for example. He'll run in, he'll drop his silence, and then he's all about the right click. And in the early laning phase anyway. So if you have a Cold Embrace up, he's just not going to be able to hurt someone. So it's not just the heal you want to consider this for, it's the damage prevention. Again, if you've got a PA, she might blink on someone. When she blinks, she gets massive attack speed, but she's still right click. So if you Cold Embrace someone as she blinks on her, so you keep an eye on a PA, you watch your positioning for when she's going to come in. As soon as she blinks, you hit Cold Embrace, and while she's got that high attack speed, your ally will take no damage. After that, of course, she's still got reasonable right click on her own, but her playstyle is about blowing people up. So, let's say, just think about what your enemy. Don't think about how they're going to damage you and harass you. Think about how they're going to kill you, because how they get your health low is not the issue. It's more about how they're going to kill you. There are a lot of heroes with powerful nukes but long cooldowns, so they'll have to fire off a nuke, and once they've fired off the nuke, they have to finish you with right clicks. So just bear in mind how they're going to finish the kill. In this game, again, Alchemist, he's got a stun that he might initiate with. His acid spray does a little bit of damage, but it's mostly about the armor reduction, so again, right clicks. And his ult makes him hit really fast. Again, so if Alchemist comes in, if he leads with his stun on the initiation, and then he goes to town on your carry, you can straight away, you can Cold Embrace him, you can prevent that damage. So it's not just about the healing. Don't think about Cold Embrace as a heal. Think about it as a way to prevent damage. When you get later game, and everybody's got a much chunkier health pool, it's really, really good for the heal, because the heal, I mean, at max level it heals heals 24% plus 80. So it's healing for about 25%, which is a massive amount when you've got like a 4k health Pudge or any other sort of tanky hero. So Wyvern works really, really well with any tanky hero. She's brilliant with tanky heroes, and that is to say heroes with a lot of health, not heroes with a lot of armor. If you're playing a game with heroes like Axe, who are likely to pick up a big armor item and a Heart of Tarask, you might want to tell them, you know, it's worth nudging towards the Heart of Tarask first, because not only will they get the value out of it for themselves, they'll get extra value out of any heals you give them. So always worth considering pushing them. If it's a really bad idea for them to start with a strength item, then just go with their normal build. But if it's sort of a toss-up, when you're playing with Wyvern, you go for health first, because you get more value out of the heal. So try and nudge your teammates into going for health items if you can. So she works really well with strength heroes, because obviously they're naturally going to buy high strength items. So you can pretty much guarantee a really good heal out of the Cold Embrace. Now,
Dire's top tower
as you are initiating, what you're going to want to do is, usually you will actually initiate with Splinter Blast. Now, a lot of people will initiate with an Arctic Burn because it's got longer range. But the cast range on Splinter Blast is huge. It's like 1,000 range on Splinter Blast. And what you need to consider with your initiation is that to get the best out of Splinter Blast, your enemy needs to be under their creep wave, which is why you initiate with it. So what you'll do is you'll wait for them to get under a creep wave. Once they get under their own creep wave, you'll Splinter Blast one of the creeps. It'll then splatter onto the hero. While the projectile is in flight, you'll go into Arctic Burn, and you'll hit him with the Arctic Burn. Now, what you'll find by doing this is usually the Splinter Blast and the Arctic Burn will hit them at roughly the same time. And you've got up to a 40% slow from the Arctic Burn, and a 25% slow from the Splinter Blast. So you're doing a massive amount of slow here. So if you've got a carry with a stun, like in this game, I was playing with the Wraith King, it allows it. For a start, it does a decent amount of damage to him. It takes 30% of their HP off just with the first hit from Arctic Burn. It takes, say, 100 damage off. So I've just done about 400 damage straight away to most heroes. Plus the damage of my own right click. It doesn't take a lot for the Wraith King or a Sven, or basically any carry with a stun or mobility. To finish off a kill, and that went really badly, but it doesn't take much to then finish off a kill, because they're going to be slowed for 5 seconds, maybe longer, because if you keep hitting someone on Arctic Burn, it doesn't stack, but it does refresh the duration. So you can have them slowed from that for 6 seconds, you can have a slow duration on the Splinter Blast for 4, and it's going to come up again so you can reapply it. So what you want to do is coordinate with your carries, tell them, look, when the enemy comes under creep wave, I'll initiate, save your stun for about 4 or 5 seconds, because the amount of slow coming out from both of these, it might as well be a stun. It's just, so there's no point stunning somebody who's under both of these. So try and just nudge your allies into not wasting the stun, unless they really have to use it early. There are, obviously, if there's heroes with blinks and stuff like that, they're going to be able to get out, but in most cases it's going to be an easy kill, and you don't even have to stack, you don't even have to layer the stuns correctly. Even if you're stacking the stun with the slow, you're usually going to get the kill with this, because it's just so much slow and so much damage that you don't have to worry. Perfect time. I'm just going to rewind that a bit. What you'll notice with Wyvern in this video is, if you watch out whenever we're pushing towers, I will occasionally go to heal a creep. And the reason for that is not to give the creep health, it's because tower damage is physical. And what I want to do is, I want to make, if I keep, towers will not change aggro, usually, until their target dies. So by keeping that creep alive longer, I'm keeping his buddies alive longer, which keeps the DPS of the entire group of creeps higher. Quite often what you'll find is, if you cold embrace the first creep that arrives at a tower, and then you cold embrace again, most of your creep wave will still be alive by the time the next creep wave arrives. So it's a good way to get more than one creep wave at the same time. Oh, I remember this fight. This went horribly. Kind of wanted to keep going back in, but enemy team was a bit on the ball. Well, it didn't go that badly. I mean, look at that save.
Killing spree.
Well, just to be honest, not a save. You know, I misspoke there. Basically, even if you know your target is going to die under Cold Embrace, if they're going to take mostly right-click damage and it's somebody with a lot of health, a lot of the time it's worth putting it on them, just for the fact that it will keep them alive that extra 4 seconds. Because what the enemy team are going to do is the enemy team are going to see that they're low, and they're going to focus them. And as they're focusing them, they just won't die, and they'll just keep trying to focus them and trying to focus them. And most people will tunnel vision on this, and it's 4 extra seconds where they're going to be standing still for your sniper to pick them off, or maybe a Ricky to get in position for a pick off and stuff like that. It may not. And if you put that on somebody tanky, somebody who's got a lot of health, it's going to keep them, the extra health as well is going to keep them alive a lot longer after that. So even if you know they're not going to get out, sometimes it can be worth giving them the heal. And let's just skip ahead a little bit in this. So when we get into team fights, what you want to be looking for is to put your Cold Embrace on somebody squishy, and you want to do it while they're next to somebody with high right click damage, because a lot of players will just place this on the priority target. They'll put it on Alchemist, they'll put it on PA, they'll put it on a Tiny, and all you end up doing then is you take a chunk of that problem hero away, and then one of his supports stuns you, and he will kill you himself. So what you do is you put it on the supports. You put it on. Let's see if we get one in this fight.
Own it.
There is help for all things.
There's another thing as well. Sometimes if you know that they're going to get away, sometimes it's worth just putting it on them, just to make sure you pick up the kill. It's a really expensive stun, so you don't want to use it as a stun unless it's your last resort, but it can be used just as a stun. Now what you want to be aiming for is to wait for, you want to kill a support, so we want to kill Rubik, or we want to kill Oracle in this case at the start of any fight. So what I want to do is I want to catch Bloodseeker or Alchemist standing next to them, and then I'll cast it on them. And what that does is, once it's maxed, that takes the carry out of the fight for 3 seconds, and because a carry can usually pretty much melt a support, that kills the support. So straight away you've had 3 seconds of freedom, and it's a 4-on-5. So it's a really good way to start a fight. Now if you're lucky or you get good positioning on it, you can actually end up with everyone on the enemy team attacking someone, and you can, when that happens, you can use it to take out slightly more tanky targets, but usually you want to use it to take out somebody squishy. Now the 3 seconds of freedom you get will give your own carries and your own damage dealers plenty of, it will give them an extra 3 seconds to handle somebody like Alchemist, or to burst down somebody like Bloodseeker. But the really key thing is that you take out the supports, because if you were to cast it on Alchemist, he'd easily survive, and then his supports would crowd control for him, and he'll just heal back up. So there's not really any point putting it on someone really tanky. So I think that's pretty much it, apart from maybe a greedy item build. So items for Wyvern. Like I said, late game, you have so much int, you just mana is not really an issue. But until about the 20 to 30 minute mark, depending on how well you're leveling, mana is going to be a bit of an issue. So what you're going to want to start with is Soul Ring probably first, a magic stick if you're against people who cast at least moderately frequently, and then Tranquil Boots. You probably want to get the brown boots early and then just go Tranquils once the team fight stage starts, because usually in the laning phase you are not going to be visible unless you're initiating, and you're going to initiate Splinter Blast, Arctic Burn, and then you come in over the trees. So usually you're not going to be visible, so the extra armor, you don't need it, and you're not going to lose that much health that you really need the heal from the Tranquils. Now as we progress in the game, like in this game, I was a hard support, so so I was really chewing through the wards, so I end up really poor. But as you get a little bit later, a 4 staff is really good. It does massively help with the positioning. You can use it to save your allies. You can use it to chase. When you initiate with Arctic Burn, sometimes you'll find you're that touch too far away, so you can 4 staff, get close to them, and then it gives you chance, then your team then chance to get in close. A Yule Scepter is really good, both for the it's really good for the movement speed, because it helps you as you initiate over trees and over walls, and the movement speed helps you get the correct positioning for your ult, or to get back out if you 4 staff yourself in. But one thing that works really well on it is the amount of time you can keep an enemy busy between the Yule Scepter and Cold Embrace means that you're going to create a lot of space for your team if you get focused. So what you'll do is you'll Cold Embrace. It's got 4 second duration, so that'll leave 10 seconds after you've cast it. You can then Yules yourself, which keeps you in the air for 2.5 seconds. So you've got 7.5 seconds of being able to be killed. If you've got a 4 staff, you can 4 staff away a bit. Chances are by the time the enemy catches up with you again, Cold Embrace is off cooldown, and you can Cold Embrace again. So if you've got somebody who's got really good chase and they're still going to get you, it's then obviously you've not got many ways to really you've not got amazing escapes, but the fact that you can keep somebody busy for so long, it gives your team the chance to respond, it gives your team the chance to push elsewhere, you force the enemy out of position, you maybe make them dive. So a Cold Embrace Yules can really keep you alive in fights, and if it's in a team fight, being able to take yourself out of the fight for a few seconds is usually enough to sort of discourage the enemy, because if there's a big 5-on-5 fight, they're not going to want to just sit there and wait for the Yules to expire. That is a bit of a weird graphical bug. So, other potential items on Wyvern. Now, other good items for it include the Sheep Stick. It gives good stats, it gives int, so her right clicks are going to be better. She doesn't really need the mana from it unless you get it farmed really early and you're still having trouble with mana, but that's unlikely. Obviously it's a good item to control the enemy team if you need one, and it does help giving her health, which she does lack a little bit. But it's probably, if you're hard support, it's most likely going to be an item that's out of your reach. The Eye of Skadi is a really good item because the slow stacks with the slow from Arctic Burn and the slow from Splinter Blast. You will be seeing enemies who are on the minimum move speed if you initiate on them with this and a Skadi. Again, it gives good stats, it gives you plenty of health, but it will probably be too rich for you unless you get a lot of sort of accidental kill secures. It's probably going to be a bit too rich, but if you can afford it, it's a great item. To be honest, an Orchid Malevolence isn't a bad item either, because of the fact that it amplifies any kind of damage. If you get a good position on a Winter's Curse, you can Orchid the target that is under Winter's Curse, so you can blow up people that are a little bit tankier than usual. Obviously, it gives mana regen, so if you get it early It'll solve your early game mana problem. Again, it's not really necessary late game, but because it gives attack speed, when you Arctic burn, you're going to be able to put that on more targets, and that's an important part with Arctic burn, is you put it on multiple targets. Don't put it on one person and then just keep hitting them unless they're the only target around. What you want to do is you want to ping on one guy, then the next guy, then the next guy, because the burn doesn't stack. If you're in a 5v5, you could take 30% of the entire enemy team's health off, which is a huge amount of damage. The only problem with Wyvern is she's got no follow-up, so it's 30% of their current health. So if they've got hardly any health at all, you are going to do hardly any damage with it. So Wyvern has no follow-up. She's very difficult to get kills on her own with, but she's really, really good ganker. She's really good at setting up kills for the other team. So I do hope you found this guide useful, guys. If you've got any tips, any comments, anything you'd like to discuss about Wyvern and how she's played, please let me know in the comments below. I'll be putting up another guide for her in a little while, maybe a couple of days, because I want to do this safe sort of playing with range guide with her, and I want to do sort of an offlane and a mid guide with her as well, because I think she works well in a lot of different roles. But I'm going to be putting up another guide soon, so if you've got any comments, questions, things you'd like answered about her, then please let me know in the comments and I will answer them in the next video. In the meantime, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please drop me a like, and I will see you all soon, guys. Bye bye.